Welcome back. This is the day after talking Duck sports, and we are finally started with the season. And man, but Oregon number 3 plays the Idaho Vandals, and man, they almost laid an egg here. Now Oregon is number 3 in the nation in the Big Ten. Idaho is, I think they're a subdivision team in the Big Sky. They are a better team than people give them credit for, but they are not a 2 touchdown difference between Oregon. That's just the honest truth. However, Oregon almost laid an egg in this game. Let's be honest. There was a lot of stuff to clean up, and we'll get into that. But Oregon wins 24-14 in a game that they were favored by, I think, 49 points. Yes, as a fan, that's a little disappointing, but in the end, Oregon gets the win, and that's kind of the important thing. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So 24-14, not exactly what you would hope for. Oregon goes up 14-0 in the first half. I think Oregon is the first school in the last 4 or 5 attempts from Power 5 conferences to lead at the half by 2 touchdowns against Idaho, though. They are a team that comes to play all the time, and they do have a bunch of kids that play really, really hard. Now, first touchdown comes on a trick play, some flea flicker, whatever. And you know what? Give Idaho credit. I mean, it was a great play. They made it. There was some busted coverage on Oregon's part. The guy was wide open, and that's a great learning experience for Oregon's defense. They have to be disciplined all the time. All the time. So you give up a couple scores, you still win the game. There's a hell of a lot to clean up. Overall, I thought Oregon's defense played pretty good. But if you don't look at the score, you don't know what the score is. You just look at the stats. Oregon has 31 first downs. Oregon goes 7-16 third down efficiency, not great. Oregon's fourth down efficiency 1-3, again, not great. Oregon gets 107 rushing yards and 380 passing yards for a total of 487 yards for the game. I would like Oregon to be a little more balanced, but Idaho was really pressing the line, and one of Oregon's biggest weaknesses seems to be the offensive line right now. Oregon gets 4 sacks. Idaho gets 3 sacks. If you remember last year, I think Oregon had 5 sacks for the year. So giving up 3 in the very first game to a subdivision team is not good. Idaho throws 2 interceptions. Oregon punched 3 times with an average of 50 yards. I thought the punting game was pretty good. I thought the coverage team was pretty good. Man, here's another sore spot for Dan Lanning. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of running involved in this because 8 penalties for 60 yards. I believe 6 of those penalties were on the offensive line. I think you had 3 false starts on 3 different guys, and then you had 3 illegal formations where guys on the line, or the offensive linemen weren't all up on the line. They considered them in the backfield. Too many men in the backfield caused that penalties. That stalled out a few drives for Oregon, and that in the end pretty much cost him, the spread of that game. So Oregon possessed the ball for 40 minutes pretty much, over 20 for Idaho, almost doubled their time of possession. And if you look at all these stats, it was a blowout game. But football isn't won by stats. Football is won by touchdowns scored. And for that, Idaho outscores Oregon in the third quarter. And then Idaho gets, that second touchdown. And Oregon ended up coming away with the go-ahead score and gets the game. So, with that, oh boy. Okay, let's talk about some stats here. So, Dylan Gabriel's debut. He goes 41 of 49, 380 yards, 7.8 average, and 2 TDs. Overall, pretty good stat line. However, I thought there was some on the move throws. So, okay, let's take a Bo Nix versus Dylan Gabriel comparison real quick. I thought they both managed the game well. I thought they chose good positions to throw the ball to for the most part. I think there was only one that Dylan kind of threw that might have been a problem if the DB had been a little bit better. But he got away with it at the time, so no interceptions. But Bo Nix's ability to create and throw on the run really gave Oregon an edge last year. I didn't see Dylan Gabriel possess that ability very much. I felt like he was very much just a pocket passer, and any time that he was kind of out in a scramble, like it just didn't go Oregon's way. Those balls just weren't where they needed to be. There's one specific play that sticks in my mind where the receiver was running across. Dylan Gabriel broke out this way on the run before he gets to the line of scrimmage. He goes to throw the ball and completely misses the receiver behind him, and it was just not a good ball. And I think Oregon's gonna need the ability for Dylan to create some plays for them to win down the thing. Dylan's gonna have to have some Heisman defining moments for Oregon to keep winning through the games that are ahead of them. I didn't really see him possess that ability against Idaho. He didn't really run, which is, I don't have a problem with that at all. It's just, he's got to show some ability to create. And right now I didn't really see that from him. He did manage the game exceptionally well. So there's that, but I think he needs to work on his creativity just a little bit and those passes on the run. All right, moving on. The run game. Well, it's good to see Noah Whittington back. He looked like he felt like he was healthy out there running the ball, making cuts, doing maneuvers, cutting through the line. However, he just looked a step off. I don't want to say slow, but just a step off. Now, okay, I'm not a coach. I don't break down film. I'm just a fan. This is how I see it. This is what I watched when I saw it. This is what I look at. And Noah just felt like there was a step off, slow. I don't know, just missing something. Because when you look at Jordan James, had 15 carries, 95 yards. His average was 6.3 yards. He was carrying folks on a couple of those first downs, just not giving up. Like, the announcers were like, oh, and he gets stopped. Oh, wait, no, he's still going. Oh, and then he carries another 4 or 5 yards and gets the first down. I don't see that from Noah right now, and I'm not sure what he's missing, but he's going to need to find that. Oregon's going to need a second rusher, and if it's not going to be Noah Whittington, I don't know who it's going to be, but that could be trouble for Oregon, especially if Jordan James gets injured at all or has to come out. Noah Whittington is a serviceable back, but he doesn't possess the same ability that James does right now. Hopefully that gets better throughout the season, but that's something that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. Now, the receivers. I'm not sure you can say a whole lot bad about the receivers. The receivers, I thought, played a very, very good game. I didn't really see any that I can remember. I don't remember any like drops, like they had it and dropped it. I don't remember really seeing any of that. Of course, Terrence Ferguson has a monster game with 7 receptions, 87 yards. It's great to see him out there. Patrick Herbert had 2 receptions for 11 yards. Those 2 tight ends are really good, and it's good to see them out there. Jordan James and Noah Whittington both had 4 catches apiece. Whittington goes for 32 yards, and Jordan James has 40. That's pretty good for a running back. And that's part of Dylan. That's part of him checking down to those running backs. I thought his progression was really good. Like I said, I thought he played a decent, manageable game. I just need that next step from him of something great. And then, you got Trayshawn Holden, you got Kenyon Sadiq and Tez Johnson, and okay. So, okay, here's my one gripe about Tez Johnson. The guy goes for 12 receptions for 81 yards, 6.8 average, and 2 TDs. Longest one was 19 yards. But my problem is be careful, man. Like, know where you are, know where the sticks are, and stop running backwards, man. I know you want to break them. I know you want to go to the house, but just be careful. There's times when it's third down that they just need the first down. They don't need you to break a play. They just need you to get a first down, and that catching the ball and running backwards kind of thing is super scary when Oregon is struggling to run for 1 yard and get those hard first downs. Overall, though, I mean, man, the receiving core altogether, including the tight ends, I just thought were really good. I thought the punting game was really good. I thought overall, if you exclude the offensive line, I thought Oregon played a really, really, really solid game. But the offensive line giving up 3 sacks, I felt like they were living in Oregon's backfield all day, rushing the Dillon out of there, and getting too close to sacking him, forcing throws. Dillon hurt his hand on one of those because the guy was right there. Oregon needs to shore up that offensive line because not only could they not protect the quarterback, but they couldn't open up holes for the running back. The running back yards that they got really weren't from the offensive line making holes. They were just the running backs making plays. And when it came time for the offensive line to get the push, to get 1 yard, to get those hard yards, they just couldn't do it. And Oregon's gonna have to figure out that offensive line because as it was in the Idaho game, that's just not gonna cut it in the long run. But Oregon gets the win, 24-14. Oregon moves on. They are 1-0 in the league this year, so that's all you can hope for. So what does Oregon got on tap? Well, Oregon's got Boise State, and as much as you can say about comparisons with team to team to team to team, is Boise State looks like they're legit. They got a great running game. I think one of their guys ran for like 280 yards and 6 touchdowns or something like that. So Oregon's going to have to be on their A game on the defensive line to stop this running game because, man, that guy looked nuts. So if you look at this, yards per game, passing yards per game, rushing yards per game, points per game, third down percentage. If you look at the stats, man, the stats say Boise State's going to come in and give Oregon all they can handle. And, the previous matchup, 38-28, 2017, at Austin Stadium, Boise State won. So Boise State can come in and give Oregon a game. They can come in and beat Oregon if Oregon doesn't fix what they have to fix. Now, is Oregon going to go 380 yards and only get 2 touchdowns in passing again? Probably not. I think those small things are going to get fixed. I think the O-line is going to clean up the penalties. I think there'll be more points on the board just because of that. And I think this is a real big chance for Oregon defense to make a statement and shut down what looks to be a prolific running game by Boise State. Now, here's the kicker. You can only watch this game on Peacock. So this game is not on regular TV. It is only on Peacock. So if you want to watch the Boise State-Oregon game, either you're going to have to go to the game, or you're going to have to get Peacock, or you're going to have to find somebody else that has Peacock so you can watch this game. It's not on the Big Ten Network. It is not on ESPN, Fox, or any of those other regular TV shows. This game will only be streamed on Peacock. And so there's that. Now, that being said, I think I did a video last week where we talked about how much Peacock is. It's like $6 or $7 for the month. So, at least for this game, $6 or $7, it might be worth just getting that. You can kind of see what else they got on there. They got some other shows and stuff like that. But if you're an Oregon fan, what's $6 to watch your team? Because you never know when they're going to be on there again. So, with that, we are going to get out of here because this is dragging on. I hope you enjoyed this. Go ahead and hit a like. Go ahead and leave your comment. What do you think was the biggest weakness of the Oregon game last week? And what do you think is going to happen in this game against Boise? I think Oregon's going to get a lot of stuff figured out. And although Boise State's going to give them a game, I'm looking for Oregon to come away with, again, a 2-touchdown victory. With that, we're out of today. Much love, all. We will catch you next week on the day after.